In the annals of Japanese history, amidst tales of powerful shoguns and valiant samurai, there emerges a figure shrouded in legend. Her name is Tomoe Gozen, but who was this formidable onna-bugeisha, this female warrior of late 12th century Japan? Let's journey back to the tumultuous Genpei War to uncover the story of the woman, the warrior, the legend. To understand Tomoe, we must first understand her time. Japan was in the throes of a brutal civil war. The Genpei War, fought between 1180 and 1185. This conflict pitted two powerful clans against each other, the Taira, also known as the Heike, and the Minamoto, also called the Genji. It was a war that would reshape the political landscape of Japan, marking the end of the Heian period and the beginning of the feudal Kamakura period, and establishing the first shogunate. It was in this crucible of conflict that legends were forged, and Tomoe Gozen's was one of the most enduring. Our primary source for Tomoe's existence comes from the Heike Monogatari, or the Tale of the Heike, an epic account of the Genpei War. It's important to note that this work is a blend of historical fact and literary embellishment, compiled from oral traditions long after the events took place. According to the tale, Tomoe Gozen served the Minamoto general Kiso Yoshinaka, who is also known as Minamoto no Yoshinaka. The nature of their relationship is described with some ambiguity. She is called his retainer, his concubine, and one of his most trusted captains. The tale paints a striking picture of her. Tomoe was especially beautiful, with white skin, long hair, and charming features. She was also a remarkably strong archer, and as a swordswoman she was a warrior worth 1,000, ready to confront a demon or a god, mounted or on foot. This description is powerful. It doesn't just mention her beauty. It immediately establishes her as a warrior of extraordinary skill. In a society where the battlefield was overwhelmingly the domain of men, this praise is remarkable. She wasn't just a female warrior. She was a warrior who surpassed most men. The tale claims she was an expert rider, capable of handling untamed horses on treacherous terrain, and a master of both the bow and the long sword, the naginata. She was one of Yoshinaka's shi-tenno, his 4 most trusted generals. Tomoe's loyalty to Yoshinaka was absolute. She fought alongside him in several key battles. The tale of the Heike highlights her ferocity in combat, describing how she would charge into the enemy ranks, seize the strongest opponent, and pin him down before decapitating him. This wasn't just defensive fighting. This was the aggressive, head-on combat of an elite samurai. One of her most celebrated moments came during the Battle of Awazu in 1184. This battle was a tragic turning point for Yoshinaka. Once a celebrated general for the Minamoto clan, his ambition and rough manners made him enemies within his own side. His cousin, Minamoto no Yoritomo, the future first shogun of Japan, turned against him. Yoshinaka found himself trapped, vastly outnumbered by the forces of his own clan, led by his other cousin, Yoshitsune. As his forces dwindled to just a handful of loyal warriors, Yoshinaka turned to Tomoe. The tale recounts a poignant and famous scene. Seeing that defeat was inevitable, Yoshinaka told her, "You are a woman, so go away now. Go wherever you please. I have resolved to die in battle. It would be a shame for me to have a woman with me in my last battle." Yoshinaka's words can be interpreted in a few ways. Was he trying to save her? Or was he concerned about the dishonor of being seen with a woman in his final moments? Perhaps a bit of both. Tomoe, however, refused to leave without one last display of her value. She reportedly said, "I want to show you one last fine enemy for me to fight," before riding off. She scanned the battlefield and spotted a famously strong warrior from the opposing side, Onda no Hakushiro Morshig, who commanded 30 riders. Tomoe charged directly at him. In a stunning display of strength, she rode up alongside Morshig, grabbed him, and pulled him from his horse. She then pinned him against her saddle bow, and with grim finality, decapitated him, throwing his head aside. After this final brutal act of loyalty, she shed her armor and fled eastward, disappearing from the tale of the Heike and from the battlefield. And this is where history and legend truly begin to diverge. What happened to Tomoe Gozen after Awazu? The tale of the Heike simply says she escaped. But popular tradition couldn't let such a compelling figure just vanish. Several stories emerged over the centuries to fill the void. One popular version from the Genpei Jesuiki, a 14th century extended version of the tale, claims that she was later captured by Wada Yoshimori, a retainer of Yoritomo. Impressed by her strength, he made her his wife, and she bore him a son, Asahina Yoshihide, who is said to have inherited his mother's incredible strength. This version gives Tomoe a more traditional ending, re-assimilating her into domestic life after her warrior career. Another, more melancholic version suggests that after Yoshinaka's death, Tomoe became a Buddhist nun. She retired to a convent in Echigo province and devoted the rest of her life to praying for Yoshinaka's soul, reportedly living to the old age of 91. This narrative fits a common trope for the widows of defeated warriors, seeking spiritual solace after a life of violence. So, did Tomoe Gozen actually exist? This is the million-dollar question for historians. The lack of corroborating evidence outside the Heike Monogatari makes it difficult to say for sure. Her name doesn't appear in official records or diaries from the period. Some scholars argue she was a literary creation, a composite character designed to add drama and romanticism to the epic tale of the Genpei War. She embodies the ideal of loyalty and martial prowess, making Yoshinaka's tragic fall even more poignant. However, others argue that the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. Women did receive martial training in samurai families, primarily to defend their homes while their husbands were away at war. These onna-bugeisha were real. Historical records do mention other female warriors, like Tomoe Gozen, who defended a fortress against a 10,000-strong army. So, a figure like Tomoe is not entirely outside the realm of possibility. It's plausible that a real female warrior's exploits were exaggerated and romanticized over time, culminating in the legendary figure we know from the tale. Regardless of whether she was a real person or a literary invention, Tomoe Gozen's impact is undeniable. She represents the idea that strength, courage, and loyalty are not confined to one gender. She challenges traditional gender roles and stands as a testament to the warrior spirit. In later centuries, her story became a popular subject for no and kabuki plays, woodblock prints, and poetry. She is often depicted in full armor, wielding her naginata or bow, a fierce and beautiful figure ready for battle. This image has cemented her status as Japan's most famous female warrior. Even today, Tomoe Gozen continues to capture the imagination. She appears in video games, manga, and anime, often portrayed as a powerful and inspiring hero. Her legacy is particularly strong in Kiso, Yoshinaka's home region, where she is celebrated during local festivals. The tale of Tomoe Gozen is a fascinating blend of history, literature, and myth. She is the beautiful and deadly warrior, the loyal retainer who fights to the bitter end. If you enjoyed this exploration of history and legend, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the past.